Hey there, SMDBZX here, recording something that isn't Pokemon for the first time in a long time. It's been a hot minute since I've done something that isn't Pokemon. It's kind of crazy actually. Coming in with a classic, like you see the thumbnail, you see the title. Don't tell me you don't know what the video is. Um, but honestly, this might be the classic for the series. Like I think this series or the original was like my first YouTube boom. Wasn't nearly as big as my Pokemon one, but definitely my first boom. Then it was Issei 10, which, dear God, why is that so popular in every form that I make it? And then the third would be Pokemon. Someday I'm hoping to get a fourth boom, but who knows? Maybe not. I have another what if plan that I want to make, but I haven't written yet. But let's get past the intro and just go over some stuff we need to talk about since this is part 0. There is actual what if stuff here, but we need to like go over something pretty important here. And that important thing is that this is not the Dragon Ball Super timeline. This what if, we're not going over Dragon Ball Super. This is going to go over Dragon Ball GT, if I make it past the Namek Saga. Why is this important? Well, it's important because of two things. The first being is that GT is a sequel to Dragon Ball Z and not the manga. This changes many things throughout the story, including characters' power levels. But more importantly, this means that Cooler, Janemba, and Hirudegan are all canon. Well, you can make the excuse that maybe Hirudegan's not canon, but I'm going to make it canon. So we're gonna have to be very creative with how we're going to get these timelines to work. The movies themselves probably aren't going to happen, but the events are going to happen in a relative same way. So that very pre-warning out of the way, let's get started. During the time of King Piccolo, our timeline starts its change before Dragon Ball. Knowing the dangers of the Dragon Balls, King Piccolo decided he wanted to make a pair of his own. So King Piccolo made a set of 5 Dragon Balls called the Next Dragon Balls. Kami knew he couldn't allow this to happen, and just like in canon, King Piccolo was stopped. However, Kami had to do something about these Dragon Balls. The negative energy would be comparable to even that of the Black Star Dragon Balls, even if they're not nearly as powerful. Thus, Kami tried to revert their creation and dissipate it before something bad happens. However, it has an adverse effect. The negative energy of the Dragon Balls split across the planet, crystallizing themselves into negative Sharite. The positive energy was left unstable and started glowing brightly, blinding the god. In the remains of the next Dragon Balls were formed, and each ball took a humanoid form. The 1-star ball was Neptune, the 2-star Noir, the 3-star Vert, 4-star Blanc, and 5-star Plutia. However, being born from a pair of Dragon Balls that was never even used, these 5 did not know that those were their names. They didn't know how to talk, didn't know how to walk, or who they were. All completely gone. And so, due to this, Kami took the 5 of them into their own hands. Worst comes to worst, they could be used to fight off King Piccolo should he ever return. The years passed and the CPU with Kami developed. However, as Kami ages, his powers decrease. The CPUs, on the other hand, don't seem to age despite their very human appearance. Kami does notice something, however, something troubling. No matter what he does, no matter how he tries, he cannot make the CPU pure of heart. Now, they aren't evil, they aren't killing people or anything, but they all have flaws which would make them, debatably, not pure of heart. Noir was rude to everyone, unable to truly show her emotions. All her friends understood this, but many people who don't know her would not. Vert was very focused and determined, but only on things she likes. Neptune's a goof and is lazy and has trouble taking anything seriously. Blanc is quiet and restrained, with a large amount of rage and a mouth to match when pushed. It would seem that Kami did not exactly purify that Dragon Ball. Plutia was quiet and slow. Her powers were even more so. When it came to the other CPU, she was by far the weakest. But Kami could sense a darker side, a side that reminded him of himself. However, he pushed it aside and hoped that that time, that personality, that side would never come. On top of all these other characteristic flaws, it was also quite often for the girls to run off. Even Noir, who was a stickler for staying and training to prepare for King Piccolo. They gained many traits and trinkets. Books, TVs, video games, and Noir stayed out a little longer trying out cosplay, although she never admitted that. However, there was one more thing they all picked up. Weapons. The five of them found out about different types of handheld weapons, something Kami saw no reason to teach, and thus the five of them started practicing with their individual weapons they took interest in, even though Kami despised them doing so and would prefer they stayed in hand-to-hand combat. Neptune used katana, Noir used a rapier, Bert a spear, and Blanc a hammer. Yeah, Kami couldn't quite understand that one, but he just let it slide. And that's it for episode 0, which is pretty short, but it's a prologue. Episode 1 is where Dragon Ball actually starts. It's where we would start chronologically in the Dragon Ball timeline. It's where episode 1 in the original Dragon Ball X DBZxNEP, or Dragon Ball ZX Neptunia God would have set off. The series is going to be very different from the original. Excuse me. There's just the original had a lot of problems, okay, and we're gonna have a lot of differences just because I feel like it. That's why we're gonna have differences, because I feel like it. So thank you for watching. I've been SMDBZX, and I'm hoping that all the people who originally watched Dragon Ball ZX Neptunia, and I'm assuming they're still subscribed, come to enjoy this. I also hope some of the Pokemon fans, or some of the people who came over from Pokemon, will stop by and join my What If. Be really nice.